Hey there guys, a few minutes ago I just hit rank 1 on the Gingerbuff man. I'm going to show you my clear, but just be warned, it's not easy to do. This fight has given me the biggest headache ever. But I recorded the clear, but I didn't narrate it because I was doing so many attempts working stuff out. So we're going to watch the clear together in this video. I'll do voiceover, but the live clear was not recorded, and I am not running this fight again. Oh my god, we're gonna watch the replay. So let me go ahead and just mute this real quick, and we will bring up a replay. So this is now a video of the fight as I was working on it earlier. So as you can see, I was currently rank 2 at the time. So Bonic beat me to rank 1. I think his name at the current time in game is NL Zeal, but he's a known player. He ranks 1 in Dark Visions a lot, etc. But he beat me to rank 1. Huge congrats to him. But I was the second to rank 1. But let's go ahead and watch the replay. So let me go ahead and unpause the video, and we'll see I turned on all modifiers. And I was going kind of quick because I wasn't narrating. Let me pause right here and let's back up a little bit. You can see. So here is the team we used. We used Ashe for tanking, Sylvie for support, Kresnik for morale and support chaining, and Imbue, that is, oh my god, important for my clear. Olive for the breaker, because she can break without breaking defense. And Ashe was our attack breaker, because she can do that without breaking defense. Frievia, because you kind of have to use Frievia if you use an Ayaka. I mean, it's kind of a fact of life here. And then Ayaka is the new unit and kind of important here. So we turned on all modifiers. I was trying Cecil in previous clears, but he's only EX1, couldn't turn on all mods, and I'm not spending 20k to get into EX2. So here we go. So here is the, let me actually bring up my turn chart so I can reference this as we're doing this. And I'll post, okay, I'm going to pause real quick. I'm going to post a turn chart in the comments. Be aware, things went very wrong in the clear, and we went off track the turn chart. So this video is more of an entertainment thing than an educational video. You can try to copy the clear, and as you'll see, it does work. It is not reliable, and the fight is just insane. The fight is insane, but let's continue watching. So here's the ambush. No big deal. Whatever. We've got morale fill on the party. I'll show you the gear at the end of all this. Okay, so first of all, what we do is the very first action. There's going to be some long pauses sometimes as I'm adjusting my turn chart, working things out, etc. So apologies for that. Okay, the first thing we do is we use Ashe's base form LB. This is an 88 attack and magic break. It's a big mitigation buff. It's also a racial mitigation versus Stone, which is the boss, of 80% for magic. It's very important for her to survive. Now, as the second action, we're going to click Olive, her normal attack. Olive's normal attack is a perfect dispel. We're doing it in this order for specific reasons. We go Ashe first. We want every crystal drop to go to Ashe if possible. So she goes first. Olive goes second to dispel the preemptive buffs. Then third, we imbue the boss with Kresnik's Magnus. That has to go after Olive because boss imbues are considered a buff, and perfect dispels will remove the imbue. But now the boss is imbued to light element. We're also imbued to light element as the party. That's why we're doing it in this order, because Kresnik has now imbued the party, which allows our Frievia, who is not using elemental weapons, to do her setup on turn 1 of in guard and double flick. Do not use Frievia's breaks. If you break the boss's defense, game over. It's just game over. If you break it on a threshold, you're okay. But if the boss's defense is ever broken on a normal turn, you're done. You're done. So never break defense. So don't use anything on Frievia that breaks defense. Be careful of that. So we did in guard and double flick, and we do the base form LB. I was going really quick in this because I wasn't really planning to narrate anything. So we did the base form LB of Ayaka for the modifier buff. It's a 10-turn modifier buff. Then Sylvie does, I misclicked. We did Magnus, Vines, and Petals. That's for resist buffs, 85 general mitigation, and 75 to typed mitigations. Okay, so with all this massive front-loaded mitigation, we're okay for turn 1. So we've got 85 general, 75 magic, 75 physical, 50 physical to both of the boss races, 50 magic versus demon, and 85 magic versus stone. Lots of mitigation, plus Ashe's covering. And the boss is imbued, so all the physical damage doesn't do anything. Now on turn 2, we're going to put up a better cover with Ash. We're going to Shelga, and we're going to attack break. Keep that attack break going. We go to the base form with Frievia. We field and double prep, and then Magnus. That allows us to get her ready to burst next turn a little bit. Then we Gunner. Brilliant. Notice we're using Brilliant, which is a magic and spirit break. We are never using the other one because it breaks defense. We cannot break defense. Also keep in mind, we are currently imbued with light element thanks to Kresnik. So we need to imperil light element, which is done by Brilliant Splash. And we're using all this on Olive to fill morale. We got to speed that morale very quickly. Now for this one, we're going to use both the cooldowns of Ayaka and then just double hit. We're not really worried about damage on this turn. We're going to do Stimulant for Kresnik for that morale fill, and then Sylvie is going to do Compassionate, Resolve, and Vines. The reason we're doing Vines again, I was just checking to make sure I didn't mess anything up. Yep, I'm good. I did it right. I did it right. Come on. I'm very good at this game. It only took me 142 tries to beat this. Yeah, I was very paranoid and like on every single clear. Come on, dude. Okay, there we go. Everything's right. All right, so then we did Compassionate, Vines, and Resolve. Resolve was for the healing because we're going to be too busy to heal for the next few turns. It's a heal over time buff. And Vines is just for the morale fill. We got to fill that morale quickly as possible because we're going to be bursting. We're not bursting. We're just damaging. We're saving the burst for way later. Okay, this turn is crazy because the boss, like a jerk face, buffs his attack and magic at the start of the turn. No matter what you do, he's always going to do it on turn 2. It's very painful, but again, because we have so much front-loaded mitigation, including magical mitigation from Ash's LB, we're overall okay here, even though it's very painful. Ash does die later. Spoilers, but, you know, we actually recover. Anyway, so now we're going to do turn 3. Turn 3, we're going to start bursting. So we're going to start, the goal here, what we're doing with the strategy, is we're going to be pushing the first 2 thresholds with regular stuff. We're saving our enormous burst and our damage cap burst for the phase 3. Because phase 3, the healing can just get lost. So we had to save all our big burst to get through phase 3 immediately. So we're doing small damage in the earlier phases, but we have to do enough to push those thresholds because we are on a clock. And we got to get out of phase 1. Phase 1 is by far the most dangerous. So we have to get out of phase 1 before Sylvie's Magnus wears off and Kresnik's Imbue wears off. Remember, the boss is still imbued. If the boss wasn't imbued, we can just kiss our ass goodbye. This boss deals ridiculous amounts of damage. So we're basically turned off the boss's physical damage, and we are magic covering the magic damage with a tank with 85 mitigations, including racial mitigations. And once all this wears off on turn 4, we're going to be wrecked. We have to get out of phase 1 immediately before all this wears off. So now we're going to start bursting. We're going to do the Vision card on Frievia. We're going to quad Ice attack on Ayaka. We're going to SLB on Olive, and Ash is going to match Olive's SLB. Now we're going to be clicking Olive and Ash first. And Kresnik does antioxidant because buffing resistance fills morale. That'll keep our morale at max the entire fight. Thankfully, this boss, the morale is very easy. That's one silver lining. Okay, we're going to do the Extreme Novas first, put up that big 90 Spirit Break, then we're going to chain the other guys. This is going to push a lot of damage, not the threshold, because our morale is not capped yet. So the threshold is 70. We're still in phase 1. This is the last turn of our 85 mitigations, and then they're gone. They're gone for the remainder of the time. We're never getting them back. So this is the last turn we can stall in phase 1. So we're taking some damage here. Not too bad, because right now we've got 85 mitigations, and that's it. They're gone. We got to get out of phase 1. Now we're going to burst again. We're going to push to phase 2. This is tricky. This is where I got hung up for a lot of attempts. I had to go in level 130 in my Ayaka because she's on the EX2. We got to burst 10% more without using any kind of cooldowns, and we don't have Olive's SLB anymore. This is hard to do. So this is going to require some variance and some luck, and this is why I can't really recommend this clear. But it's what I had to do, and it did work. So Ash is now going to go to the base form. We're going to use her LB to put up the general mitigation, only 70%. She's a dumpster, but she did work. But I hate these tanks with bad mitigations. Just like Lilith, she only has 70% for the party. It's real bad. Thankfully, Ash's racial mitigation does kind of make up for it, but We're in the danger zone at the moment. So we're going to go ahead and put up her LB so we can start getting it refilled later. And we're going to do another small kind of sort of burst. We're going to put up Mirage. We're going to put up a 5-stack Mirage. We're not going to need it this turn, but we're going to need it next turn. And by doing it right now, it'll come back online later in the fight. So that's why we're doing it now. It'll still be there when we need it in phase 2. So some more attacks. Again, we just straight up damage, quad cast. We do the card with you, and Olive is going to cap. We're not going to use the Magnus. We're just going to cap and deal some damage. And we got to deal enough to push that 70% threshold to stun lock the boss. And I did. Oh yeah. We're not doing a big attack and magic buff, so use that morale buff every single turn for attack and magic. That's very important. All right, so here we go. We burst it up here, and 70%. Barely. But as you can see, we did do it. We're good. Okay, now we're in phase 2. Now, here's the tricky part. In phase 2, the boss begins to heal. Phase 2 is only a 5% heal per turn. Here's the most ridiculous part. If the boss heals out of phase 2 back into phase 1, the HP lock is still gone, but he will go back into his phase run rotation and start using all this non-elemental destruction. You have to keep him under 70%. He's not going to heal on the threshold. This is the threshold, so nothing really happens. He does buff his attack and magic again, though. You got to get rid of that, one way or the other. So we're going to go ahead and shift Sylvie, and this turn, she is... Let me get my turn chart so I can reference, so I can help you guys narrate. We're going to do killers on Olive, Stone, and Demon. Because remember, Ayaka has 200% personal killer to these, so we're using the bigger... Even though Ayaka is dealing more damage, instead of bringing Olive or Ayaka from 200 to 250, which is only a 50 gain, we're doing the 250 killers on Olive to bring her from 150 to 250. It's an overall bigger bonus to buff Olive, even though she's doing less damage. So we're giving Olive that, and Ayaka's using her 200. And then we're going to use Sylvie's STMR to get rid of the boss's attack and magic buff. Ash on this turn is going to give a killer. Okay, so we actually are using 250 killers on Ayaka as well from Ash, but only to Stone. So Ayaka now has 200 Demon and 250 Stone, which is another reason Ash is pretty useful here. And we're doing it in the shift form right here because I've got her shift form geared with more LB fill, including things like the paintbrush. So when we brave shift, it gives her like a little jolt of LB gauge, and we need that to keep using her LB. It's a very expensive LB on Ash. It's a 90 cost crystal. But we shift and do the killer on that turn. And now we go ahead and do Medicinal Mastery. That is just for an AoE 5-turn re-raise in case anyone dies. Spoiler, they do. That was important. And then we're going to do... We also got Imperiled this turn. So we're going to do Potion and Antioxidant to cure the Imperils with Kresnik. And now we're going to start dealing some damage again. So Olive is going to cap, and Olive is going to use her Magnus as the last action. So Ayaka is going to just do ×4 Carol. I was thinking, I guess. If the video is playing, I was currently thinking. Yeah, I was thinking about what I was going to do. So now we're going to go ahead and cap, and we're going to use the Magnus last. We're going to triple, we're going to cap, then we're going to use Fire Cannon Fire. And we're going to deal some damage. Oh yeah, and I'll always do the attack and magic buff. And we need to do at least 5% to get him out of risk of healing back into the first phase. We did 13, we did a lot, 15%. That's fine. Just you can't stall there. If you stall there, the boss will heal. You'll be back in phase 1 and you're dead. You're not really dead, but you're probably gonna die. Okay, so there's some AoE. There's a lot. This phase is relatively not super dangerous. Now the problem here is the RNG. You see that gumdrop kick? The gumdrop kick does something like 25,000 damage to our DPS units like Friabia. So if the boss does like 3 gumdrop kicks and you don't have Mirage, you just lose. Thankfully, remember turn 4 we did defense on Sylvie, 5-stack Mirage? This is why we did it. So turn 5, we still had a 5-stack Mirage. I think the boss only did 3 kicks, so we still have 2 stacks of Mirage remaining. But it's RNG. The boss might choose to do 7 kicks in a turn, and he's done that, and you're just dead. Chromatic Wave is very fun. So Sylvie is going to use her shifted LB for the mod buff and all that. We got to do some damage again. We got to push, it's turn 6. Yeah, turn 6 we're not... Okay, so the goal was to push the threshold in turn 6. That was ambitious. It didn't happen. I wanted to push it on turn 6. It did not happen, and this is where the clear kind of got off the rails. So we did not push the threshold, and this is where I had to like adjust. So we burst. We do that. Correct. We didn't actually need that because Sylvie did her LB, but whatever. It's good practice. Okay, so we go ahead and chain Kresnik and Olive with the Extreme Nova, and then we did the chaining. We didn't get it. We were close, but we're 6% short. The threshold is 30%. This is where I kind of went into panic mode. I'm like, oh my god, the new plan is not working. What are we gonna do? I almost gave up. I almost said, forget it. This is not working. Then I thought to myself like, well, let's just play it out. Let's see what happens. So I decided to continue. So we just refreshed the buffs, refreshed cover, shell, and attack break. Now remember, this turn we don't have, we only have 2 stacks of Mirage remaining. So, and we didn't push the threshold, so we're still in danger here. I forgot exactly what happened. I remember Ash died at some point, and it got real bad. I don't think it was this turn though. So I think this turn. Oh, there! You see that stupid kick? How much damage it does? It's completely bonkers. It's absurd. How much damage that kick? He only did 1 kick that turn. So, or maybe we miraged some. But the point is, we didn't lose anyone, so we're still okay. So this is where things went wrong yet again. So we're still working on it. And I'm sitting here thinking. So turn 7. I'm thinking to myself like, we have to push the threshold or it's game over. So we don't have to worry about mitigations and all. We gotta just go. We gotta go. And here I was. Okay, so right here, and you're gonna see where I kind of made a huge mistake here. So I was thinking like, I'll just do some setup and get ready, and then we'll like do a small burst and push the threshold. It almost worked. It didn't. So as you see, I was using some like buffs on the Yaka, and this is why it's going kind of slow. Like I said, things were not going according to plan at this point. I was just making things up on the spot. So I'm like, okay, we'll chain this up. We'll do some buffs. We'll chain it up. We'll cap. It'll be fine. It wasn't, but here we go. Let's watch. All right, so we did all this, and we capped, and we went for it. We went for it. All right, I did some stuff. I don't know. Like I said, at this point we had no script. It was just things were going wrong. Oh yeah, we do big killers. We do big killers, correct? And we should be curing the attack and magic buff. We didn't. Okay, that's fine. Anyway, and then we did some damage. And at some point I bursted. Oh yeah, we gotta do this, dude. At some point I tried it. You're seeing raw footage, guys. You're seeing raw footage with me in total panic mode. Oh yeah, I shifted. I'm like, okay, we gotta do killers. Let's do some killers. And here we go. We bursted and came up short. Because I wasted too many actions on Ayaka casting buffs. 2% short. At that point, I knew I didn't refresh defenses. I knew if I didn't push the threshold on turn 7, the boss would have buffs too long. I reset the app. We started the turn over. We decided to choose new actions for turn 7. So here's turn 7 again. We started that turn over. So this time, I decide we are not going to have Ayaka do setup. She's going pure damage. We're just going to burst hard on this turn. So we do killer on Ayaka. We Sylvie shifts. Come on. Yeah, this is really slow, and this is the reason I usually like to optimize a clear before recording it, because you don't have all this like dead time where I'm sitting here thinking about what to do. I've got it all pre-planned. But sometimes I'm sitting here thinking like, what do we do? I'm thinking like, do I want to try to go lightning with the Sylvie magnets? But no, we don't. That's not going to work. So we stuck to this. And I did killers. Yeah, I actually decided we're not even going to bother trying to cure the attack break. We're going pure setup. We're going to do some LB fill for Ash. And now we burst again. So we burst again, but this time we do less buffs on Ayaka. We do more chaining, therefore more damage. So we went more heavily damage focused on this turn. And we've put the field back up and triple bolting. We do have to do killers though, so big killers. And then triple. Last time we only did a double chain. This time we're doing a triple chain. So that extra 2% is going to be fine. There it is. Well, here it comes. And barely. Threshold handled. Now we're in phase 3. So heal. Cure the impair. This didn't really matter, honestly. Oh, at this point I used Kresnik to just normal attack to fill Ash up, because we needed Ash's LB. I knew it was wearing off. So here we go. Now we're in phase 3. So just like phase 2, the boss, let me pause it real quick. The boss will start healing. This time he heals 10% per turn, and it is the worst. It is the worst. Also, the boss buffed his attack and magic again. That can be removed. We're going to remove it. He also put up undispellable defense and spirit buffs for 2 turns. So for the next 2 turns, we basically just like can't really deal damage to the boss, not realistically. Thankfully, also in phase 3, he's more dangerous. He does more dangerous attacks. But just like phase 2, if he heals out of phase 3, he goes back into his phase 2 AI. And the phase 2 AI is relatively tame, other than having the RNG chance of doing a bunch of beams. So there we go. So we put up some buffs with Sylvie. We also removed the attack and magic buff. We did the LB with Ash to mitigate, heal, etc. Not heal, to mitigate and break, big breaks. We're going to the shift with Frievia to put up Sword in Peril, mod buff, etc. We're going to do the Magnus on Ayaka. And here I was saying, I'm like, I'm not thinking, like, do I really need to do that? I'm like, nah, okay, I did it. And then with Magnus, big killer, and then hit the boss to see. Always got to seal the boss. So seal him. Olive just did all her fill stuff. We get ready to burst because her SLB is coming back. It's coming back next turn. We're not using it next turn. And then we just hit the boss to seal. And then Kresnik, I forgot what he does. He cures in perils. Heal, cure in peril, and remedy because whatever. Okay, here's where things went bad. Like, real bad. Like I said, the boss has very, very extreme RNG. So he heals back into phase 2, which is mostly an RNG phase, because he does mostly just like either beams or kicks. This is when the boss decided to do like a bunch of beams. Was it this turn or later? There's kick, and he does another kick, beam, kick. He kills our Frievia, almost kills our Kresnik. Okay, Ash does die at some point, and it went bad. Okay, it wasn't yet. Maybe it's next turn. Okay, turn 9. So turn 9, we do the SLB on Ayaka. And we're doing, again, setup on Frievia, who just died, but thankfully her dying wasn't a super big deal, because now Sylvie's defense skill is ready to go again. So SLB of Ayaka. We're doing setup for the big burst now. We're waiting for the boss's buffs to wear off. Magnus. Yeah, turn 9. So we're going to be burst on turn 10. Ash is going to do... I forget why she died. Probably because I didn't do buffs. Oh, I did killer buffs. I probably didn't refresh something. I don't know, but she dies. And then, or maybe that was a different clear. All these clears are blurring together. Maybe she never died in this clear. I thought she did. And then we do defense for Mirage. All right, Kresnik does. I think Kresnik re-raises Frievia just in case, because Frievia did die a minute ago, and we can't always rely on Sylvie countering. Yeah. And then this is the, again, we're in technically phase 2 because the boss did heal back into phase 2. But here we go. So some attacks. The boss heals to 44%. He only heals 5% in this phase. And I swear I thought Ash died this turn. Minty Beam. Minty Beam. Okay, Ash never died. This must have been the previous clear that I came really close. And Ash never died this clear. I've done so many attempts on the boss, they all blend together. One attempt, okay, let me pause real quick. I have not been like misleading you guys. One attempt, I damage capped and I was like right there. The boss got to like 2% and then Ash died and it ruined the whole thing. And it wasn't this clear. It wasn't this clear though, I guess. Anyway, so here we go. So Sylvie shifted LB for the mod buff. Ash killer buff. No, Ash is gonna support chain, I think. Actually, I think I don't do that with Ash. I think I like decided to get ready to kill her on turn 11 because I was so frustrated. I was like ready to be done with this. So we do the card on Frievia. We do the big burst on Ayaka, the Magnus burst. This is the 150 burst, 150 amp. And then we SLBU. And then I think Kresnik, I forget what I did exactly. Because we also are in peril. We got to hear that as in peril. So I think Kresnik did that. And I got, yeah, all the buffs. I was freaking out. Because we didn't damage cap yet. Remember that. We didn't damage cap. But now we need to skip phase 3 entirely. So we're going to burst. Start them for the 90 break. Go for it. At this point, we're 100 amped and 150 amp on Ayaka, and boom, boss dead. Please roll high variance. We did. 2.6. Damage capped. Turn 10. Last turn possible. Right on the edge. Got it. There it was. That was the rank 1 clear. So much RNG in that clear. So much razor edge damage checks. Barely doable. And for those guys in the comments, like, what if I don't have Ayaka? Find a different clear, because oh my god. Yeah, this boss, I don't like this boss. I really don't. You know, I like challenging bosses. I think this boss is challenging for the wrong reasons. Here's the damage breakdown. Again, you can't super consider it because there's so much going on turn by turn. And there it was. That got me a rank 1. All right, let's go ahead and close this video and get back to the actual game. Turn the sound back on. And there we go. Now we're rank 1. And now let's go ahead and show you the gear for the party we just used. Okay, so here is the party. So Ash is in both forms, starting in the base form. Start her in the base. We need her to auto cover on turn 1. Here's her build. She wants to have 50 or better ice resist and 0 or better earth resist. We're doing a 200 earth resist buff with Sylvie and a 150 ice resist buff with Ayaka. So there you go. Other than that, as much spirit bulk as you can. Do not provoke her. We don't want her passive provoking. You don't need evasion for her. And there it is. And give her some LB fill. So high class dagger or Kyrie's STMR or whatever. 10 LB per turn. Her LB has got to be refilled pretty often for the 85% stone mitigation, 88 breaks, and the mitigation. Yes. Shift form is basically identical. We are using Crimson Ferrosode in the chest, Dragon's Brush in the accessory, and we're using Lightning Fast Legend or the other Extreme Nova to support Chain. There we go. We're using the Power Cut card, and she shifts because it activates the Dragon's Brush, and we do Extreme Nova sometimes. Sylvie is our passive provoker, full evasion counterattack build, 100 evasion, as much physical bulk as you can fit. So there we go. I don't think she needs resist, but she gears for it basically for free anyway, so there it is. There we go. And she does need her STMR. Shift form, geared identical. She is all the things Sylvie does. Kresnik starts in the shift form. We're using a morale fill card. You can probably use Sylvie's card, but I use the best possible. There we go. There's the setup. Counter helps a little bit for LB fill. It's not required, but I gave him counter. And we're dual wielding because of the morale card. And then base form. The base form is not dual wielding because we're using the Extreme Nova materia, and it can't be dual wielding. So don't dual wield the base form, but do give him Yeti style for the double attack. And give him some bulk. As much bulk as you can. If you can fit guts, it helps. He never actually died, but there it is. Olive needs to have 50 or better ice, 0 or better earth. I think she has that just by default. Here's the build. LB damage versus stones and demons. She's maxed everything. Chain speed is a little helpful if you can fit it. And we gave her the Knight of Giving card because it gives 100 to both the relevant killers and allows her to cap literally everything thanks to the pay to win card. Frievia. In the shift form, we start in the shift form. Celestite Rod, or you could give her a second copy of Ayaka's STMR, but morale fill. So morale fill, there we go. Shift form, not super important. And we gave her this because we have to have this for the garden attack. That's very important. And then base form, you know, as much magic as possible. Magic damage versus Stone and Reaper. Here's the build. She's maxed and everything. Her damage is relatively low, but she was important and she did deal enough damage. So maxed on Demon, maxed on Stone, and there we go. She's important for the field stuff. And then Ayaka is, I gave her everything. So EX2, I even went to level 130 in her, which was for me, was important. I actually forgot that her TMR gives 500 magic, so actually don't forget that. I actually didn't have that equipped in early attempts, now it is. There we go. I gave her Equip Helm for the slat stats. Like, we're all in for Ayaka's damage here. We just gave her a just generic card. I think Dark Range card would actually be better. Now that I'm thinking about it, usually Dark Range card goes on Olive. This time it didn't, so whatever. It worked out. There we go. And Barbaricious Spirit. Whoops. Barbaricious Spirit this is such a drop in the bucket. She's doing 4,000x mod, but this does add 10x mod to each caster per multicast, so it adds 40 mod per turn. Whatever, it's something. If you got free slots, you know, add it in. There was the clear. I'll have a turn chart in the comments. The turn chart is very, very just made up on the spot. So the first few turns we followed the chart, then things went off the rails and we just kind of flopped around a little bit. But I'll post it in the turn chart. For those of you guys asking for alternatives, this fight has burnt me out so hard. I'm taking a minimum break over the holidays. Like, Christmas is coming up. I'm gonna have some good food. I'm gonna forget this boss exists, and then maybe in a few days we'll come back and I will try to figure out different clears. But oh my god, this boss, I don't like. Let me clarify. You guys have heard me say in the past, I love RNG in a trial. When I say I love RNG in trial, I mean I like RNG in what, like, the AI of the boss. I don't mean I like RNG where the boss can use between 1 and 7 of a lethal attack. Like, just complete RNG if the boss does 1 Goomy kick or 7 Goomy kicks. That's not cool. That's not cool. That's not good RNG. RNG is like, are you going to use 2 Goomy kicks, or are you going to use, like, you know, rainfall of star drops or something? That kind of RNG is cool because then it changes what the boss does per turn. But just how many times the boss does the same attack, that's not good RNG. In my opinion. Whatever, this video is too long. Hope you guys can rank 1. See you in a bit.